Okay, you guys, let's go ahead and start by reading today's standard, and that is Common Core reading for language arts. Reading for literature. Determine two or more themes or central ideas of a text and analyze their development over the course of the text, including how they interact and build on one another to produce a complex account. Provide an objective summary of the text. So as you can see, we're currently in the bungalows right now. We don't have a board, so you guys are going to be handwriting most of the lectures, everything that we put on the board because we don't have one. So hopefully you guys brought in sufficient paper and pen. For the standard though, today we're only going to be focusing on providing an objective summary. This standard is linked to the novel that we're currently reading right now, which is The Catcher in the Rye. So let's go ahead and start the class period by working on our journal prompt. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the prompt, and I want you guys to write it down. So the prompt is, what is the difference between objective and subjective writing? And what modes of discourse or text would you see each writing style? So with modes of discourse, that's in what type of text would you see each style? A newspaper, an encyclopedia, an editorial, a history book. Those are some examples, right? So let's go ahead and get started with the journal writing. I'm gonna give you guys 5 minutes, and then we're gonna share your responses, okay? And I'll be circulating the room to make sure that you guys are on task and focusing on the prompt, okay? In terms of grammar and mechanics, don't worry about it, okay? It's just focus on the context. Any questions? So already, what's the prompt?
So it's what's the difference between
objective
and subjective?
Perfect. And then you guys are gonna provide examples for each or just for one?
For each.
Perfect. All right. So go ahead. I'll give you guys 5 minutes. All right. So time is up, you guys. So let's go ahead and share. Let's go ahead and start with you already. What is an objective summary?
Well,
so it's writing.
So in objective writing, I would say it's like something made out of facts, something like you could prove, like a newspaper.
Okay, evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jenny, from what modes of discourse or text will you pull or be able to write an objective summary from? Some examples?
So some examples would be the news report, encyclopedias, history books.
Okay. As far as subjective writing, anybody want to share what subjective writing is?
You know, I think subjective writing is like something made out of opinions, something that
personal interpretations.
Someone just say something like non-validate.
Okay, so it's information that you can't validate. All right, so it's writing based on it's bias, in other words. Right now, as far as some examples, writing examples or textual, I should say, examples of subjective writing, are there any?
Yeah, there would be personal essays, autobiographies, and some editorials.
And editorials, okay. And what's the reason, or can you explain why an autobiography, right? Let's say the autobiography of John F. Kennedy, for example, right? Somebody's obviously writing that autobiography for, this individual, right? Now, the reason why it would be subjective, it's because we have this person who's thinking, right, either positive things or bad things of, this former president. And whatever he thinks, what is that? Bias, opinions, his interpretation. Okay? An objective summary, though, that's going to be the focus of, well, that is the focus of our standard, right? And eventually, the assignment, which I will discuss later at the end of the period, you guys will be responsible to create one paragraph. It's going to be one paragraph, an objective paragraph summary from the first 8 chapters of the novel, from The Catcher in the Rye. So that's going to be the ultimate, the authentic assignment. But I'll give you guys instructions on that later on during the period. Now, I first want to give you guys, we want to continue our lecture now. So what I'm passing right now, it's a lecture on what is an objective summary. So an objective summary is a concise, complete, accurate, and objective overview of the text in which writers do the following. Alright, so let's go ahead and take turns. I'll go ahead and read the first one. Right? You pull out the main central ideas from the text. Right? So you're putting out the central ideas of the text, and that's eventually what you guys are going to be summarizing objectively. What's the next key part of an objective summary?
You can focus on key details.
You focus on key details, right? On things that are relevant, that are important, and that you want to put in your objective summary. What's next?
You could use keywords and phrases from the summary.
Okay, so in terms of keywords and phrases, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, it's a matter of using strong verbs to help you lay out your paragraph, okay? Some of those verbs, right, would be the author suggests, the author discusses, or it can be from a character where, you know, Holden Caulfield believes, he thinks. So it's those verbs that will help you create a strong objective summary, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. You have to remain objective, okay? So remember, always remaining objective, meaning getting your bias, your personal interpretation, get that aside. And then what's the last one right there?
Restate the information in your own words.
So again, right, you're restating all the information in your own words, so there's no plagiarizing, everything's in your own words, just like if you guys were paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Okay? So a good summary is concise. Notice that I bold that. Focusing on the main ideas and leaving out much of the supporting and explanatory detail of the original text. Who wants to read the next check mark?
A good summary is also complete, covering all of the important ideas found in the primary text.
So it has to be a complete summary, right? You guys are not telling the reader just half of what's in the text. So it has to be a complete summary. The third check mark?
A summary should be objective. The goal should be to cover the text fairly without inserting one's own opinion or perspective.
Okay, so now the next section, be sure to answer these questions. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. So in your summaries, whenever you guys are focusing and answering those questions, that's just going to lead you guys to a successful paper where no information is going to be missing. So as it says there, if you do this, you will get rid of a lot of the unnecessary information and do a great objective summary. What to avoid? Who wants to read the first check mark?
An objective summary is not a collection of sentences or paragraphs that you copy directly from a story. So,
an objective summary is not a long retelling of every event, detail, or point in an original text.
a well-done objective summary does not include your opinion or reaction to the work. It is not your interpretation. This means do not putting your opinions, reactions, or personal connections to a story. Be very careful of your word choice. Use strong verbs to help make your writing more effective.
The length of a summary will vary depending on the length of the text, right? For the time being, we're going to be focusing within a paragraph or two, just to get the ball rolling with practice. And then as we move throughout the course, the objective summaries are gonna become longer and length. All right, any questions with the class lecture? Do we all have a good idea of what an objective summary is?
Yes.
And what it's not?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What it's not, you can't use your own words. And then
Perfect.
objective.
So what I'm passing out right now is an objective summary organizer. This is a handout that you guys are going to be using for the article that we'll be reading in class and what you guys will be finishing for homework, right? So it's an organizer where it says name it, title, and author, right? That's going to be the author of the article that I'll be passing out right now. How it was structured, so verbed. In the bottom, you have strong verbs, right? Can you guys name a few of them?
Tells, shows, describes,
Shares, explains, discusses, lists,
Okay,
addresses.
and what do all those verbs have in common?
they describe.
Okay, so it's setting up information in an objective way, laying out the grounds for an objective summary. Key events, points. So in those lines right there, what you guys are going to be writing there, it's pretty much, just the summary, right? It's going to be writing the summary from the article. Note that it says or use transition words to jump from one sentence to another. Okay, you guys have a handout on your transitional words, right? Just to name a few transitions, right? What would be some?
In other words,
Besides, on the other hand, and, right? So those are just some examples. The reason why you guys have three and they're identical, it's because think of it like this is one paragraph right here. And each section right here is approximately one or two sentences, right, of a summary based on one central idea. So the first step is to identify the central idea and then expand it into sentences. You guys will find another central idea and then expand it into sentences until you guys do three, right? And then for the verbiage, you guys are going to be selecting one verb for each central idea, okay? Let me go ahead and pass out now the article that you guys will be reading with a partner. So the article is titled, what is the title, you guys?
you can grow your intelligence.
So you can grow your intelligence. New research shows that the brain can be developed like a muscle. So it's a 3-4 page article. What I want you guys to do is, as you're reading it, I want you guys to highlight all the central and main ideas of either each column, each paragraph, whatever you guys find that it's of importance. I want you guys to highlight those, because eventually you guys are going to be placing that sentence in your organizer, right? And then you guys are going to be choosing the verbs, right? Depending on the flow of your summary. So the homework assignment, all right, will be, well, it's going to be in class. Whatever we don't finish, it's going to be for homework. We're going to be highlighting, what are you guys going to be highlighting?
The central idea.
All the central ideas of the article. You guys are going to be completing the organizer because this is going to be turned in. Alright? And then the main part of the assignment will be to write an objective summary. As far as the length, 1 paragraph. Okay, so we're going to practice with 1 effective paragraph of an objective summary of this article. Are there any questions? Alright, so there's still like 10 more minutes left in class. Get with your group partners. Let's focus on the article. I don't want to hear any chit-chatting. I want you guys focused. Whatever you guys don't finish will be for homework. Any questions?
Okay.
Perfect. Let's get started.